Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. This resolution, as I find, has two parts. The first part relates to an enquiry into the monopolistic hold of foreign owned and foreign controlled advertising agencies in India. The second part is in regard to the desirability of government taking advantages of Indian advertising firms in relation to its advertisement of nationalized concerns, railways, and so forth. In so far as first part is concerned, I do not think that it is necessary, and I do not think that we have any need to inquire into the working of foreign owned and foreign controlled advertising agencies. So long as it is policy of the government to permit foreigners to operate in this country, I do not think that if there is a private sector, they should be subject to frequent enquiries. In so far as this part of the resolution is concerned, I am afraid I cannot accord it my support. But in so far as the second part of the resolution is concerned, there is absolutely no conflict between my head and my heart in giving my full support to that part of the resolution. It is difficult for me to adduce arguments in support of this very desirable proposition, as I do not know what arguments could be advanced against it. I should have liked very much Dr. Kesher to speak first if he were supposed to it, because I think that any reasonable person should support it. But the likely obligations may be these, and I am trying to analyze them. First, it might be stated that it might mean discrimination, but I do not think that argument holds water, because there is no question of discrimination involved. Government has gone out in different fields of activity in assisting and furthering Indian participation, progressive Indianization of services, and so forth. Even in the tea industry, I believe the government is trying to break the monopoly of foreign tea broking firms by supporting the rise of Indian firms in the tea broking industry, which is a very specialized and a kind of monopolistic business. So, I do not think that Dr. Kesher would advance the argument at all, because that is a preposterous argument. The second argument may be that we have not firms of sufficient quality and standard. Now, let us examine whether that proposition is true. I submit that that proposition is not quite true, although in my reply to a question by the mover of the resolution, the Honorable Minister for Information and Broadcasting did say that they sometimes find ourselves in difficulty when they had entrusted advertising business to Indian firms. Now, I do not know if you are aware that one of the most important advertisements that appear in papers is that of the tea board, and that advertisement is, I think, by an Indian agency. I do not think that anybody here would contend that the art quality attained by the firm which is entrusted with this advertisement work in any way inferior to the work done by any of the foreign agencies, because every one of us has seen the advertisements of tea. And so, for myself, I can say that I am perfectly satisfied with the quality of work done by that firm. Now, if that is so, then it cannot be contended that there are no Indian firms of adequate standard and quality. The question then may be asked that there are not sufficient number of firms, and if there are not sufficient numbers, then all the advertisements could not probably be entrusted to them to be properly handled. On that I have not, I am afraid, sufficient information. Probably the Honorable Minister knows better as to how many Indian firms there are who can compare favorably or who are probably better than foreign advertising firms. But to the extent that there can be no argument that so far as government advertising work is concerned, it should be entrusted to such firms. I understand that these Indian advertising agencies firms had met government and they were given certain assurances. And I find that the Ministry of Production had subsequent to the meeting issued directives to all corporations under its control to make use of Indian advertising agencies. I should thought that the directive would have been asked by an appreciation of the work that could be performed by the Indian advertising agency firms. But the surprising part of it is that even thereafter, many public undertakings like NEPA Mills and the new nationalized insurance corporations have entrusted their work to foreign agencies. This certainly is surprising. I had said just now that a question might be asked as to how there are sufficient firms of the requisite standard available to handle all the work. If there are not, I believe that there is a duty cast upon government to create conditions so that an adequate number of firms of the requisite standard may come up. Everybody is aware that advertising is a specialized job. Then there should be a provision for the training of personnel. I find in the memorandum which the Indian advertising agency firms submitted to the government that they had also made certain proposals in this regard. I should very much like to know if government has taken any action in this regard, because it is desirable that Indian personnel should be trained to equip themselves for this highly specialized work. But so far as the resolution is concerned, I do not think that so eminent a person as the Honorable Minister would in any way object to the second portion of the resolution, and it is really a little shameful that while we have firms of adequate standard and quality, government business should be going out to foreign agency firms. This is not sectionalism. It is certainly the duty of the government to assist their own nationals, particularly when they are of the requisite quality.